Welcome to Real Estate Today with Yvonne Candy. Learn how to invest in today's residential and commercial real estate. Get informed and get the latest news and trends. Whether you're an investor, home buyer, or a homeowner, or just want to be entertained, you're in the right place. And here's your host, Yvonne Candy.
Internet marketing is an extreme necessity for most businesses today. After all, it's the way we communicate with the rest of the world. It is also one of the most important and most valuable marketing tools we can use for our business. Our guest, Wendy Maganaro, Internet marketing expert, is back to tell us more about how we can get maximum exposure using some of the most popular Internet tools. How important is it to include social media in our marketing efforts?
I think it's becoming, everybody is realizing with just alone on Facebook with over 500 million users that maybe they should spend some of their marketing dollars on these, what would be considered in any other time an unconventional place to spend the money. Because it's turning from just everything used to be one-on-one marketing, straight. You put an ad in the paper, people call. It was a different time. You put an ad up on, or a commercial up on the TV, and people call. Now it's, okay, how much are you engaging? How's your content in that engagement? It's a different way to market, but a really valuable one because you can utilize it to your company's benefit, because you really get feedback without having to go. And let's say if you're going to go and take an example of your customers, you have them right there on your social media, letting you know how you're doing and how you can do something better. And I don't know what company couldn't benefit from finding out from their actual customers what they're doing well, what they're doing not so well, and how we can make those marketing efforts better, and utilizing that to not waste money.
I hear a lot of people in business say, oh, I have this type of business and I don't need to do all that marketing and social media on the Internet. Is it really important to include social media in our Internet marketing efforts?
It is. It's really funny. I was on with a potential client, I guess it was a couple months ago, and he said, well, it's great for this product, but I have this, and really, I really don't know unless I do a search. And he said, well, I have a hydraulics company. Nobody's going to be using hydraulics on social media.
Right.
That's just, it only lends itself to certain businesses.
Right.
And so just for the heck of it, I said, let me do a Facebook search on hydraulics. You cannot imagine the amount of groups and pages that were listed on Facebook under the search term hydraulics. And I just thought I was like, wow, this is amazing. And you just put in this little simple thing. And that's the thing, is that I always recommend every business to Google themselves, Google their competition, and even Facebook search or Bing. Go to the different search engines and look and see what other people are doing. And you would really be surprised how much your competitors are out there, whether it's through LinkedIn or the other really great big thing now is if you have a geo-site location, meaning a brick-and-mortar business, you'll be seeing, hopefully you're having people check in to those businesses through Foursquare or Gwilla or Facebook Places. There's a new one, Scavenger, where business owners can actually, through your touch-tone phone, you can set up a scavenger hunt for your people who are coming into the business. So it's great. It's great for restaurants. You can have people do fun things, and they earn points, and those points turn into discounts for the restaurant.
So in other words, your search actually tells you where the people are the most in what social media.
Right. And I would go to some of the sites. I would go to Foursquare and search your business. Is people checking in? Have you claimed your business? There's a lot of times I'll go into a business and they'll say, well, I don't know, and they'll either have 6 Facebook pages or nobody's checking in, or they have people checking in and they never knew it, so they're not offering them a discount or a reason to check in again. And the great thing about checking into a business is that every time, and it's all user-based, but if I'm a customer and I go into a restaurant and I check in, now everybody who I'm friends with on Facebook is going to see that check-in. Or everybody, in my case, I check in through my business Twitter account on Foursquare. I have quite a few followers. not that the followers aren't everything, but I have just helped advertise that business for them just by me checking in. Content is still king. If it's boring, nobody's going to do anything. And really, it really goes back to also is that you still need to have a strategy, overall strategy. What do you want to get from your social media? What do you want to get from it? I mean, everybody, I realize that it all goes back to the dollars and cents. You want it eventually to equal to sales. I get that. But in the meantime, because social media, unlike your conventional marketing where, okay, TV commercial, pick up the phone, it's more about engagement and branding and communication, content still is king. So if you're posting boring stuff that's not going to get a reaction, and what kind of reaction do you want? So I know this seems silly. I will tell you this. There's no doubt. There's, for some reason, pictures. Pictures are big, and sending in pictures through your mobile devices of your stuff is even bigger right now. Everybody loves a picture. The other thing is that your customers want to be able to talk about themselves. They don't want to actually hear all about you. They want to hear about themselves, and maybe, and that's where you go with your content is that you ask those questions. It'll still somehow it's a indirect marketing based on your product or your service. But you really want to find out how it's affecting those people so that you have good content to actually put out there and get feedback from. It really is about that content.
Great. Now, what about combining social medias? I understand what you said previously about using the right social media for your particular business, but is there a strategy to using a combination of social medias?
Absolutely, and here's the thing. I'm a real big advocate is don't drive people crazy on a Facebook fan page. They only want to see maybe at most 1 to 2 posts a day. Anything else, they're going to hide your page. And I look at insights so I can see when people are doing that. Now, Twitter is a little bit different, though. Twitter is one of those things that if you posted, and before I even say this, yes, you can link your Facebook to your Twitter Twitter to your MySpace. I don't really use MySpace. I don't really advocate for MySpace, but you can do that. You can link it to your LinkedIn, which is great. All of that is fabulous. The one thing that I don't recommend is that whatever your personal site is that you're not sending those posts to your business accounts because people make mistakes and they forget that they're sending their stuff to their professional business page, and it doesn't always, when it's fun weekend stuff, you may not want it posting there. But what I would say is that you can do that, but if you only posted once a day on Twitter, your messaging will probably get lost and not be seen.
Wow. Because
you only have 15 seconds on Twitter to get somebody's attention. You don't want to post necessarily the same thing every day, but you want to have a little bit more that you're putting out on Twitter than you would on Facebook. And Facebook really is truly about that engagement, conversation, and everything. And the other thing that people don't realize is that when they link from Facebook to Twitter only, people are only going to see the original message that's sent over. They're not going to see all the conversation that happened underneath that message.
Right. So how many times do you suggest that you post on Twitter?
Well, Twitter can vary. I know this as of last year, and it could have been updated, that the best time to post on Twitter is actually between 10:30 and 10:45 Eastern Standard Time. Seems that more people are on that during that time. But I do recommend that you don't put it out. You don't have to do it every 15 minutes, but at least once an hour, twice an hour, that you put some sort of messaging up. Maybe during the time that you're on there. And the other thing is that on Twitter, and a lot of people don't realize this, they're putting out this messaging, and they never look under the hood to see if people are actually talking and engaging them. I mean, you have some really savvy Twitter users who know that. But you want to welcome your new followers. It doesn't even have to be messaging. It just could be welcoming your new followings, acknowledged when you're welcome to of another follower. So you want to do all of that stuff and actually look at, do searches and find out what people are talking about your product or your brand or the service that you do, and talk to them and start conversations with them. So it doesn't always have to be just a message out. It could actually be interaction. A lot of times you want to look at that person's bio, that little short bio or their website, and make a comment, and that's how you're going to end up building a relationship with somebody on Twitter.
Wow, I never even thought of anything like that, doing a search to see what people are talking about. And Wendy, you got it down to a science. I'm serious. I mean, who would ever knew that, there's certain hours of the day that you need to tweet. So that's very interesting. Mm-hmm. One of the things that was a little fuzzy spot for me is bookmarking. Tell us what bookmarking is.
Bookmarking is when it's good for you and it's good for the people following you, but what it is it's sites that allow you to bookmark other sites, blogs, websites, so on and so forth. And I would highly recommend, if you're a brand or a product, that you actually go bookmark yourself and add yourself to these sites. There's Dig, there's Delicious, there's Technorati, which is a little bit different. But I would actually make sure that you're going in, and if you write a blog, that you're entering yourself in so that other people can bookmark you through that site, because that's, again, further exposure for you if people come across your blog on Technorati or if they come across it on Dig or Delicious. So it's really important to know that, even though you're like, oh, why would I care what, nobody's going to care what I bookmark. You're right. Maybe nobody does. But making sure that you've entered your stuff into those bookmarking sites so other people have the chance of seeing your information is important.
That's very interesting. Marketing. Yeah, that's very interesting also. That's an area that a lot of people really don't know too much about. I wanted to ask you about mass emailing. A lot of people want to do that mass emailing. They want to send out millions and millions of email. Is there such a thing as spamming, especially when you give a person an option to unsubscribe? Is that still considered spamming?
Yes. Well, the thing about emailing is it is a little different than social media. The reason why I'm saying that is that, yes, you do. Everything is opt-in. Even Twitter is opt-in. Let's face it. You can follow people, so you'll see if they follow you back. It's all opt-in. Bringing somebody to your Facebook page and having them like it, it's still their option to opt in. And email is the same thing. The issue with email that I can see when you do these mass email is if they get your letter, your email, and they've subscribed to 10 other emails and they're coming at them 7 to 10 a day, your chances of them seeing that or even opening it because they're like, oh, another email, and they're bogged down by emails as it is, can lessen. So, yes, you have the option to opt out, and the thing is, and trust me because I've heard it, I've heard people go, can you believe so-and-so, they're friends with me, and they opted out of my email? I'm going, well, because they're probably oversaturated with information. And then you have other people who are like, I really want to opt out of this person's email. I just don't want to make them feel bad because they know, because all the stats are kept, who opts in and who opts out.
Right.
So it doesn't necessarily mean, all that to say, that they're looking at your information.
Right.
Or they're responding to your information. And that's the difference between social media, because if your information is getting retweeted, if your tips are being taken or responded to, or if somebody's saying something on social media about your content, then at least you know that somebody has responded and there's a way to track that too.
Right. They even do that on Facebook. I know that I have a group. You can put people in your group.
Right.
And I went back to my Facebook group and I said, Dag, that number is a little bit lower. I said, how did they have a nerve to opt out of my group?
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
sometimes, though, with their insights, if you have a business page, it's a little bit harder to see who opted out just on what days. And if people are opting out on your Facebook page, go in and look at what you were writing that day that disinterested them so much that they opted out.
Right.
Or did you go in and say nothing and they're getting rid of the groups that don't, or the pages that don't do anything?
Right. What about audio and video? I see a lot of that in the emails, and I see a lot of that on blogs. Is that the way of the future now, Wendy?
I think it's really, really important. And like I said, geolocations is all about pictures and sending it through. Foursquare, just recently, within the last few months, is that they've opened up an option to be able to not only check in, but take a picture of where you are and send that in with your check-in. And the picture and video viral marketing is a great thing to do because it gets your message out quickly. I'm going to give you the example, and I'll be in shock if you or anybody else hasn't heard about this. The man with the golden voice. Instantly.
Right.
Instantly. If you have a good enough story and you are putting it out there, it will be picked up and spread faster than you will even know what to do with.
Right.
Again, content is king. That was like a really heartwarming story, so that's the reason why it went viral. And that's what ends up happening is that you have these different stories. And not to say that you don't go to those other media sources like the TV and let them know, but it really does. If you have the right content on a video, the other thing is that, of course, what we do is we do podcasts, which people can do it by subscription. So there again, it's like a video blog or a video audio, and they're subscribing to it because they want your content. They want it streamed live straight to them, which is a little bit different than YouTube, where you put stuff up and you're hoping that people come and find it, unless they're a subscription. But this can come right from your website. You can send them content right from your website through an RSS feed. So, yes, video is going to be very, very, very important. YouTube is still one of the largest search things. If you send a YouTube video out to Twitter or Facebook, there's thousands and thousands of comments. There's 150 years worth of videos played every 24 hours.
Oh, my goodness.
So as a result of that, what they've decided to do is, because they have all this stuff that people are tweeting about them and they're talking about them, and none of it is being streamed and aggregated into one place. So they're developing the program so that they can pick up anything that's said on Twitter about a video and anything that's said on Facebook about a video and bring it back to YouTube so that it could all be posted there.
Wow.
Right, which is great for marketing. I cannot wait till that comes out.
Oh, yeah. Well, they say that you can be famous just on social media itself.
They actually have another new software application out for musicians, which is awesome. You can post your stuff on virally on Facebook, and you can't unlock that song or that video or that content unless enough of the people who are on the page actually spread it out virally. Once it hits a certain number, then the video will unlock and you'll be able to hear the song.
Wow, that's amazing. I didn't even know that.
That's one of them. Yeah, it's really what you can do out there to create the buzz prior to a market launch is amazing.
Well, talking about programs, do you think it's okay to use those programs that to get yourself views and, friends and followers?
There's different ones. I have to say I'm a little bit more of a purist. I absolutely do believe that on Twitter that's great if you can. I do utilize those systems where I'm finding followers for my clients based on who they're looking to follow, meaning if they need to follow people in the music industry to get noticed, or we ran a campaign for a nonprofit last year, and they really wanted to get picked up by Perez Hilton. Well, yes, I absolutely went through and followed his followers and followed him, and needless to say, not only did he pick it up, he actually made a page on his website dedicated to that fundraiser.
Wow.
So I do recommend doing that because in certain instances you want to connect with the right people. It's big web and it's huge when it comes to social media. So you want to make sure that you're targeting the right people. Facebook, I'm a little bit more of a purist. I'd rather go through Facebook ads, and you can do the same thing. You can go through and make sure that your interest and likes and who you want to target is there based on location and all that stuff. So it depends on what it is.
I wanted to ask you also, what is your favorite way to market?
Okay, so it used to be Facebook. I was all like, yay, this is...
You and the rest of the world.
And I love, really Facebook is becoming like a mini website, and I love it. I love doing welcome pages and great profile banners and coupon offers and contests, and it's a lot of fun. Really being able to, I'm going toward, though, I really like to be able to start search and have fun with conversations on Twitter, though. Because I really find that, and I know that there's, and to say that, I know there's a lot of spam on Twitter, but I really, really, truly like doing that because you can open up, when you see that you've put out content or you've talked to somebody and people are retweeting it, and the great thing is that everybody's starting their own little daily newsletter, and it's great when you can see that you're like, your last tweet or your last thing on Facebook is now on one of these daily newsletters, and they picked it up through Twitter.
Now that's
interesting. And then they spread that virally for you.
That's interesting. You were saying you like starting a conversation. A lot of people say that you are supposed to post very short, like advertisements of what you're doing or about your business or what have you.
And that's good, and I do that too. Not to say that I don't do that. I do that for all of my clients, but it's once somebody picks that up, if you don't follow it through with that conversation, it's dead marketing.
Oh.
Like we're and you've had him on your show, is Mark Kogel, the race car driver.
Right.
I love it. As soon as I see somebody from Texas and they say anything to Mark, I'm like, by the way, do you want to? We're looking for sponsors for him, and I've had people retweet the information for me now, and and it's amazing. It's amazing because you're really starting conversations saying, if you really want to support him, this is what we're looking for, and give them all the information through that.
I find that people really like conversation also.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like reality. They love these reality shows.
Right.
Anything. I mean, they even love radio talk and what have you. Anything that they can listen to that engages conversation. So I understand where you're coming from with that one.
Mm-hmm.
So also, I want you to tell us about the WordPress.
Yeah.
A lot of people just say, "What is WordPress?"
That's so funny. We actually, after much going, well, we don't know if we want to do this, we actually started to offer WordPress sites. What a WordPress site is, though, let me explain. WordPress is amazing. All of it is considered a content management system. And the nice thing about building a WordPress site for a client is that we then can go, okay, now that the site is built, we can turn it over to you, and it literally is as easy as going, okay, you could copy and paste and work within like working with Microsoft Word. So there is, as long there is plugins and stuff like that too. But it is that easy. The difference between WordPress and having like a Drupal site or a custom site is that a WordPress is a slightly scaled up blog is really what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so and it's great for small businesses who can't afford that really custom designed website, because it will give you something that you need. It will give you at least the ability to go in, change the information, have it out there. And there's loads and loads of templates that can be chosen from to do the work, and there's different plugins. And now the next step up would be like your Drupal site, which again is similar, but it has a lot more functionality. Like a WordPress site isn't necessarily secure, and there's different things that so they're not. None of them are bad, and everybody is going, okay, based on my budget, this is what I can afford, and they use the right one for them.
Right. Do you have to keep that updated?
Yeah, everything that you do on a site, Google likes fresh content. Mm-hmm. Google still likes fresh content. No matter how much it helps. I mean, Google's finally going, yes, we really need to take account into how active people are on social media. But they like fresh content on a website, and when they do their algorithms, that's what they're looking for.
What I like about WordPress is mm-hmm. that once you post content, it just almost immediately goes to Google.
Right.
And that's an advantage.
It's asking for it. It really is. And you can tag it, which is great. You can do all that functionality right within it.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, tell us, what is your choice as far as newsletters, postcards? They say postcards nowadays are popular for emailing. Going back to the emailing, what do you suggest? Because there's even, what do they call those, squeeze pages, or they have landing pages? Landing pages, yes.
Landing pages are big, too. And we do affiliate marketing, and those are huge. You have to have lots of landing pages because you need everything to kind of, when you go to Google it, you want to make sure that you're continuing to go up that top tier. And so a lot of companies, some companies could have thousands of landing pages, and it seems crazy, but that's the reality of it. So what is my favorite? My favorite is that in order to do a really good marketing and really kind of saturate it, is that you need to use a little bit of everything.
Right.
Saying that constant contact does work. It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite. And I would probably tell you that I would throw MySpace right out the window. I think Google's great for search, but it's really lacking when it comes to their social media stuff. Mm-hmm. So I really do think that there's three things that are really super important, because you have to go to where the people are, and if you're starting out and you're like, okay, where do I start? Then yes, it's an updated website with new content, and then next it would be to have a Facebook and Twitter presence, at least that, so that you get into those markets. And then underneath that would be if you need what's called niche social media sites.
Wow. Well, Wendy, this has been very interesting. Tell us how we can get in contact with you.
Well, you can give us a call at any time at 856-768-3598. And, of course, you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. And our website is www.colorstudio.com.
Wendy, thank you so much for joining us again.
Yes.
And I look forward to even another visit because this is really some good information.
Well, thank you, Yvonne. I really appreciate being on the show again.
Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Real Estate Today with Yvonne Candy. Don't forget to visit us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all other social media.